I actually started with modeling when I was 7 or 8 years old. I started building testers and Revell plastic models, something that has been with me since I was a little kid. So it's a neat opportunity to be able to be here and be surrounded by these airplanes. The National Model Aviation Museum is located in Muncie, Indiana, and we're on the Academy of Model Aeronautics International Air Modeling Center. It's a 1,100-acre field for flying model airplanes from. The mission of the National Model Aviation Museum is to preserve for future generations the history of flying model aviation. We do that through working with a variety of special interest groups that are involved in model aviation and in all the different disciplines, and looking at how each one of those, the airplanes themselves, have evolved. And the museum kind of came to fruition in the early 80s when the headquarters was in Reston, Virginia. The museum and the AMA moved out here to Muncie, Indiana in the early 1990s. And the museum itself, what we look at is the history of flying model aviation. And over the years, we've acquired some really amazing pieces. Our oldest original airplane in the collection is the Bing autoplane. It was manufactured by the Bing Toy Company in 1914. As I said, it's a compressed air-powered airplane, very unique. And in the early days of aviation for modeling, everything was rubber band powered. So for people to purchase a compressed air engine, even though the performance wasn't as good as a rubber band powered airplane, it was seen as you were actually operating an airplane with an engine. So that's our oldest, as I said, but we've also got some other unique and different ones from all the different categories, from the first airplane that competed in scale aerobatics and the Night Twister. It's an airplane that kind of evolved into what today is the largest model airplanes that are flown at the contest that can be as big as 30%, so very big airplanes. The three categories that we have for model aviation are free flight, which is the oldest, which is basically once you launch the airplane, you have no control over it. Control line, where you fly the airplane and it's connected to a couple wires and it flies in the hemisphere around you. And then we have radio control, and then the different contests or events that are flown within each one of those disciplines. For the museum, one of the key components for visitors when they come in is our 1950s hobby shop. That is really a big attraction. As soon as people come in, they see that right away. And for older modelers, it really takes them back. They step back into the hobby shop, and oftentimes they'll say, oh my gosh, this is exactly like X hobby shop that I used to go to when I was a kid. So everything in there is circa the 1950s. We've got everything that you would have found walking into the hobby shop. So there's kits, there's a few finished airplanes, there's engines, there's wheels, covering, all that kind of stuff. This year we will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the very first model airplane contest that an individual could win. And the museum is very fortunate in that we actually have that trophy.
The Mulvihill Trophy is actually a very important award in aero modeling, but full-scale modeling as well. It is the oldest trophy awarded continuously since 1923. It has only not been awarded 3 years. The first two were interrupted by World War II, and the third time was interrupted by COVID. So it is a very prestigious award within our world of aero modeling, and there are people on this field today that have worked their entire life to win that trophy. The Mulvihill contest is different than all of our other events in that there is such a rich tradition over the years. The rules of the event have changed a little bit, but again, it has been continuously awarded. The person's name who won it in 1923 is on that trophy today. And it is a physical embodiment of the history of our sport. And that makes it very special to everybody. So the Mulvihill event has very few regulations, actually. It, one, has to be rubber powered, and two, has to have a maximum wing area of 300 square inches. Other than that, the design of the airplane is totally at the modeler's discretion. We have seen twin pusher models that have two propellers pushing the airplane. That tends to be a little efficient than the standard tractor, one propeller in the front, but the design of the airplane is completely at the modeler's discretion, which is really cool. You don't see a lot of the exact same airplane. They're all very different. People are trying out new ideas. Every year we see new ideas coming out of the sport. So the winner of the Mulvihill contest is determined by a series of progressive rounds. That means their first flight of the day, they have to make a maximum time of 2 minutes. Once they've made their 2-minute flight, they move on to making a 3-minute flight, and then a 4-minute flight, 5-minute. This contest is usually determined somewhere in the 6 to 10-minute mark. All of the other flyers will drop out after they didn't make their max time, and one guy's left standing, and he gets to hold the trophy over his head at the end of the day. I'd just like to encourage anybody that's interested in model airplanes or airplanes generally, please reach out to us at the Free Flight Society. We'd love to help you get started and explore whatever your passion in aeromodeling is. Whether it's free flight, whether it's remote control or control line, it doesn't matter. This hobby, this sport, prepares young people for careers and prepares retirees for enjoying a lot of days out in the sunshine and keeping their mental health tip-top.